What is up, guys? I hope you're doing great. My name is Vitali and you are welcome to my first YouTube video and tutorial video ever. Never thought it would be so much effort to make it, so much time spent, but here we are. If you are watching this, you are probably coming from my Instagram page and learned about this video from there. And if you do, I tell you what, thank you so much guys for the support there. I really appreciate that. Thank you. In this video, I am going to show you guys my workflow on editing this photo that I took in New York during my 1 week stay there. 1 week to shoot it all. Pretty impossible for anyone. Anyways, I will be showing my editing process, some tips and tricks that hopefully you guys will find useful to create your own amazing edits. Here we have our final result that we are going to achieve today, and here is the before, straight out of the camera, raw file, and there is a pretty dramatic difference in here, right? I am going to cover every step I took to achieve that final look. So without any further ado, let's get to Lightroom. So here we are in Adobe Lightroom. I edit most of my photos in here, and here we have our final result, but let's go back in time and start everything from scratch. Here we have our before without any adjustments. Important to mention that this is a raw file. It saves much more information about lights, shadows, colors, etc. than, let's say, JPEG format. And because of that, raw format will allow us to be much more flexible with our settings. Well, let's begin. First up for me is highlights to reveal more details from our sky and from the sun. I will decrease the highlights pretty a lot to around, let's see, minus 87. But now, as you can see, the sky became kind of flat and faded. I don't want that, so I'll compensate with the white slider. So I'll make our whites whiter. So I increase the whites to around 53 is fine. Next up is shadows. As you can see in the photo, we have a lot of things hidden in shadows. I don't want that, so I'll reveal more details from them by increasing this slider also pretty a lot to around plus 84. Now to again compensate just revealed shadows, I will use the black slider and I will decrease it to make our dark areas a bit darker. So I'll stop at about minus 18. This will also add a little bit of contrast to the photo. Okay, next up we go up to exposure. So our photo is still pretty dark, judging by the histogram at the top. So I will make it lighter by using exposure slider and we'll increase it to around plus 0.55 is okay. And I will also add some contrast here, around plus 23. Moving forward, we go to saturation. I will decrease it to about minus 20, minus 30. Why? Just because we will be adding saturation in a different way a bit later, and just because that's what I do. But now I will kind of compensate a bit with the vibrant slider. I will increase it to about plus 17. And then clarity, I will increase it. Yeah, I will increase it to around plus 22 and make things more clear and also add a little bit of contrast by using it. Now I add some warmth to the photo with the help of temperature slider. Our photo is already pretty warm, has that summer sunset vibe, so we will build on that and improve that effect. I will increase the temperature to around, let's see, 6,600, kinda close to it. Yep, good. So we are done with our first step, basic correction. Let's see before and after so far. So this is the before, and this is the after. Before, after. Looking good. Let's continue. We will skip our tone curve section for now. We'll get back to it later. Our stop is the HSL color. In short, this panel allows you to work with every color separately. I prefer to work with it in color mode that switches over here. In that way, I have all the sliders sorted by the color. I think it's a bit more convenient way. So firstly, we have our red, orange, and yellow, and the general idea for them is to make them more similar to each other, unify them, and thereby blend them better together and intensify our summery sunset vibe here. So I move red towards orange, not much, to around 14. I'll add some saturation here, plus 20, and then luminance. Yeah, I'll increase luminance to about 13. Orange I make more reddish, not as much of course, minus 21. And saturation, I will add just a bit for now, plus 6. And then luminance, I will decrease it to about minus 22, because the sun is pretty bright and it's mostly orange. Then we have yellow. I make it more orangey, around 33. Add some saturation in here, plus 54. And luminance, I will decrease it to around minus 20. Good. Next up is green. I'll move it towards yellow, minus 72, to blend the trees with our sunlight colors. And then saturation, it doesn't affect really our trees, so I'll still decrease it to about 42. And luminance, it also does not affect us, but I still keep it at plus 65. And then we have our aqua, blue, and purple, and I'll do the same with them. I'll try to blend them better together. So I'll be moving aqua to about 85, making it more bluish, and I'll keep the saturation probably, yeah, I'll keep it as is, and I'll decrease the luminance to about minus 27. Blue is almost always about the skies, and in this case about buildings and windows, so I'll move it just a bit towards our kind of teal look, to about minus 18. And then saturation, I'll decrease it quite a lot to minus 50. And then luminance, I'll also decrease it to about minus 15. Purple, I make the hue around minus 60, making it more bluish. And then saturation, also decrease it to around minus 38. Magenta, yeah, I'll leave it as is because it doesn't really affect us here. Leave it to 0. And now we are done with our second step. Let's check before and after. So this is before, this is the after. Before, after. Alright, looking good. Moving next, we have the split toning. I will use a popular teal and orange look here that is based on one of color harmony laws about combining complementary colors. So I will add orange to highlights. The hue should be around 44. I usually go with 44. I add orange to highlights to kind of intensify our summery vibe here. but we don't need that much of saturation. We just need a touch, so it should be around 12, maybe a bit more, 15, okay? And then the opposite of orange is blue, goes to shadows. So I usually use around 220, but again, just a touch. So we decrease the saturation to around 10. Okay. Now is time to go back to tone curve. Ensure the curve shows you how the information about your lights and shadows spread around the photo. The very left part is about blacks and shadows, the middle part is about midtones, and the very right part is about lights and highlights. So I'll add a few points here, and we'll move our lights slightly up and shadows a bit down. And by doing that, I added just a bit of contrast to the shot. And then I will add another point here, and we'll move this two up like this. Yeah, like that. By doing that, I introduce this kind of faded look to our shadows. And if I turn this off and then on, you see the difference. And I'll also cut the highlights just a bit like this. Okay. Next we go to details, and I will add some sharpening here. Around 70 is fine. Next we go to effects. I'll add a vignette to make our corners and sides darker, to focus more attention on the center of the frame. So I move this slider to the left, -12, -13, okay, and I'll increase the feather here. And this highlight slider I'll also tweak to around 93 to protect our shadows from being affected by the vignette. Next up is calibration. To further intensify our summery sunset effect, I will move our red primary to make it more orange. So basically I'm making our red, orange and yellow colors more unified. So we will stop at 43. And then I will add some saturation in here. And then blue primary, I'll move towards teal to also around 42. And we'll also increase the saturation, 23. So we are almost finished. Let's go up. Now we add local adjustments. I want to focus attention on the center of the frame where all the fun stuff is happening, and also add some depth to the photo. To do that, I will darken our top part of the sky and bottom part of the road. So I'll take the graduated filter over here and place it like that, move it a bit up, and decrease the exposure to around 0.65, increase the contrast to around 17, and then I want to make skies blend more to the rest of the photo, so I'll make it more warm by adding temperature here, around plus 30 is fine. And then I'll add a tint also, plus 19, and maybe decrease a bit the temperature. Yeah, looking good. Okay, and then I'll do almost similar to the road, like that. Move it down, decrease the exposure, increase contrast, and I will not add the temperature because it's not needed here, and done. And the final touch, I will take the radial filter over here and place it to the center of the frame like this, and I'll increase the exposure to around 0.17, and then clarity I will decrease I'll decrease the clarity to around -29, and then also take the dehaze to -9. Hereby I made our light more soft, more creamy, and of course more blurry. I kinda like it. And well, that was our final step. Our edit is done and looks pretty good. What do you think? Let's see our before and our final after. So this is before, this is the after. Before, after. Yeah, looking awesome. So this is it. I hope it makes sense. I hope you guys like that. I hope it was useful for you. If it was, please like, subscribe, and do all the fancy stuff people do on YouTube. And I see you later. Cheers.